Darren, I hate that term. I really do, as far as healthcare benefits, because again, people default to, well, I need to check the box every time I go get hired. And do you guys provide benefits? Yes, we do. And everybody thinks that just means insurance. So there we go again, talking about the power of language and how we actually break down some of these definitions to change people's minds. So I want to get your take on it. When you walk into or have a sales meeting with somebody, what kind of language do you use? Do you use benefits as defined by health insurance plans? Or are you able to think outside the box and say, you know what, your employee benefits can actually mean giving your employees and your team a real personal physician that can take care of their family? Doesn't that count as employer benefits without dealing with insurance?
Yeah, there's a lot of layers to this question. I mean, I think ideally that would be the case. We've toyed around with calling benefits assets instead, but I think the scourge of the language is sort of a function of the actual underlying insurance system. So it's hard to get away from that in any meaningful sense from an employer who has been fully insured and has had that sort of sleep at the wheel kind of health insurance plan design for 2 decades. I mean, there's a lot of work to be done in transitioning them. So here's what I would say. When we talk to clients, one of the things that we have sort of found out is, after reiterating this over and over again, is that there's a lot of hesitancy about switching plan design up. And so we know that reference-based pricing is sort of this very catchy term out there for very aggressively pushing a plan forward into embracing a new style of paying for care that bypasses insurance networks. The truth is that not a lot of employers are ready to actually do that. And just to be honest about it. And second of all, there's so much improvement that can happen before then anyway, that there really isn't a need to focus on that to the exclusion of all else. So I think that what we have found is that after we spend the first 2 or 3 years improving their health plan from its current state into something that works better for them, that consistently slashes their overall healthcare spend by at least 10% a year or so, and at the same time allows them to reinvest those types of savings back into improving benefits design options. That is something that we see with all of our clients. And I think for the moment, they're overjoyed about that. And once we reach that critical point where they've saved so much money that they can, for instance, completely waive any patient on their plan's copay entirely, like all their cost sharing, if they receive a second opinion, right? Putting that carrot in front of them and saying, if you become invested in your care as well, the plan will pay for all of it, because we've actually saved so much money. We can afford to. We budgeted this amount of money, and we're saving so much that these types of possibilities, they become possible. Then at that point, after we've had built up that trust, built up that relationship, proven ourselves over the 2 or 3 years, had a lot of those conversations, and a lot of the questions about, why do I even have this insurance plan to begin with if it's not even helping me? We had a massive claim and we had to pay almost all of it. My insurance company under my PPO network didn't really give me a very good discount. The insurance company basically gave us the middle finger. Why do we even have this? Why do we pay for this? It's so funny. When I was looking at my new DPC's website, he said, paying a premium to pay a premium. And I was like, that's so smart. It's such a great way of putting that. And that's what so many companies are out there doing. So once we build up that trust, then we can start talking about the more quote unquote radical design changes of saying, let's implement you guys a direct primary care physician that basically serves almost exclusively your entire company of 400 people, right? What about having a bunch of direct contracts in place with the local hospitals that you guys see all the time? So that way they know what they're getting up front and you guys know what you're paying up front. That's kind of where the action goes and how the journey happens. So we cross that no-do gap together over a period of 2 or so years, building that relationship up.